Now we're baking our ambient occlusion, which will be our guide to drawing our diffuse and color textures, and will also help us darken those self-shadowing areas in the model. Looking pretty good. Not too many errors. I just have to brush out a few little areas, but all in all, it looks pretty good. Bring it into Photoshop. Some of this stuff's gonna... Okay, we have the red one. And let's bring our new texture. But that. We open this because there's a little bug with XSI. At least with my version. Reopen the scene up and get the texture to apply correctly to new. Alright, so there's our ambient occlusion first pass. And of course this is just the beginning. You know, we'll be making it look all wet and all that fun stuff. And because we're mirroring the whole thing, we can actually bake lighting into the model. So instead of baking, you know, the lighting that Valve suggests, because we're mirroring the entire thing across, I'm just using the regular normal map, so it gives me a bit of a height map when I take away all the colors on the normal map. That's what I'm using to make the inside section of intestines here look a bit more pronounced. What I can actually do is turn this into a screen layer and then mess around with the layers, with the levels. So Check it out. Just using the normal maps, we got, you know, fairly decent start for the color diffuse. You just to make it a bit more painterly, you know, paint over and whatnot, but great start. Pretty damn gross. I think the darks are getting too dark. But also when I have specular lighting and all that, it'll look way better. It's just the color that we're starting. Start. We add some color to the shadows. There it is. We're killing the super dark blacks that we had in the ambient occlusion layer. Right now we're using Photoshop. The 3D program was Softimage, formerly known as XSI. We're making some intestines right now. Getting rid of some of the super dark blacks. Whoops. Wrong layer. There you go. Not to mess with the layers or the levels. I think I'm gonna go into the AO mask here. Clean this up a little bit with my smudge tool. Guys being so strong. Grab those edges and maybe even pull them out, you know. I want those pixels. Very slight punch. It does some pixels to bake. Much better. I usually put my smudge at 75% when I'm cleaning up normal maps or ambient occlusion masks. Works pretty good. See that? Nice and soft. And that makes it, you know, seem more fleshy. You know, losing all the darks makes for a bit of a fake diffusion that skin has, like light going through flesh. You never get a dark values. Oops. Far on that brush stroke. Now for the little pixels, you can just grab a 50% blur and run that through those little squares that you see every now and then. Get rid of them. Push them. Like that. You say no. No pixels. Go. Pretty clean. Back towards Munch. That was an error there. This is this. Brush it out. Yeah, this one is classics from Ronald Jenkins, the song. Alright. Clean. Setting up my layers so you guys can't see my second monitor, but actually I can show you guys my second monitor. Screens. Work. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something you need to learn for years and years of doing this stuff. Oh wow, it seems the stream is lagging quite a bit behind. Maybe not, I don't know. I think some users are experiencing some glitch right now. So yeah, we're making guts. So over here on the second monitor, you can see the top left of the second monitor. I'm setting up my layers, and the way I set up the layers for game art, I put my normals correctly into one layer. I usually color it purple. Then I make my ambient occlusion layer, make that gray. Yeah, there it is. And then I have my color map where I should do red. And then you have like reflections or, you know, all the other maps, which we will do, you know, later on for all the masks that Dota items require. I throw them in here, and I have mask 1, and duplicate that into mask 2. And we color code that whatever, green and orange. But we won't worry about those guys for now. For now, we're just doing the color map. Let's save that and see what we got so far on the regular mesh. Pretty gross. Pretty gross. What we can do here too. We can try and add a fake shadow across the whole thing, but if we add a fake shadow underneath it, we're gonna have to rotate, you know, some of these edge loops that might not be facing the correct way. So, you know, we'll start rotating it like this. But let's add in the shadow, and then we'll worry about rotating the things, because, you know, since we mirrored all the way across, it's it's not gonna have, you know, that deep lighting that you see like underneath the folds of that Pudge has, you know, and the rest of the model. The material will help and the lighting in game will help a lot, but I think we can help it out even more if we add, you know, some of our own shadowing. So let me bring you guys back to the single screen. So that I can see the chat at the same time if you guys have any questions. Yeah, it's definitely too red right now, for sure. That happened because of the multiply that I did with the masks on the texture. So yeah, I mean, we definitely need to bring this red down. It's way too saturated. Actually, I have the mesh for Pudge right here. What it actually looks like, I brought it in just as a reference. And we can do this. Have it side to side, so we just bring down the saturation. And get as close as we can there. Even darken it a little bit, huh? And it looks like there's some red on the highlights, so let's add some red back in there. It's not a complete white. A little bit more like that. And it looks like they have more of a maroon color going on. Alright, I was still getting too dark. That's a little close. Test it out. The brights might be too bright right now. You know, it's getting closer to it. Looking pretty damn gross. So I think the middle pieces are getting too wrinkly. So we can make a mask on top of our mask. And start erasing 32% or something, you know, just down the middle. Actually, it looks like it's faking lighting, so it's just putting it into the middle areas and the bottom left areas. So we want to raise the highlights from side. Keep it on up area. We're simulating some fake lights hitting. Now we're gonna do a little gradient of our own. The middle. Look at that. Look at the layer, mirror it, and throw that sucker up. See, we're getting the darks or a fake shadow going on. Let's bring that back into Softimage and see what we got. A little bit better. What happens? Make it really harsh just so we can see it. Ah, go. See, it's already making a big difference. All we need to do is, like I said, you know, grab some of these guys and start spinning those suckers so that the shadow goes towards the inside. And the light goes towards the top. But yeah, totally worth it. Yeah, it's looking way better already. I think the shadow's a bit too strong, but it's just there right now so that we can see it and so we can place the intestines facing the right way for the lighting. And then we can always go in there, you know, and actually paint more accurate little highlights, you know, just like Pudge has over here. Right now it's too dark because of the layers we just added, but they're just there, like I said, as a guide. Dota, you were saying you use 3D Max and you find it hard to see live updates from your textures. So what I do in XSI is, let me show you guys really quick my second monitor. Okay. There we go. Over here, this is the material editor for Softimage. It is freaking awesome, way better than Maya's, and if I recall, way better than Studio Max. I haven't used Studio Max in years, but I doubt they have something this sophisticated. This render tree is really nice. So I bring in the texture, which is actually my PSD. So every time I'm updating my PSD, you know, I do a change on my PSD, I just save the PSD, and it will update my Softimage with that PSD. I don't have to save it to a TGA or a JPEG or anything like that, and then reload it and then see the change. You know, I just save the PSD, I go back into XSI, and I can see the change right away on the viewport. Really speeds up your workflow instead of working off TGAs. So yeah, so just try that. I think Maya can actually bring in PSDs as well, but with Maya I think you have to hit a reload button, which is automated on Softimage. So yeah. There's that. Go back to my single monitor. Alright. Hey, we're still on the front page. Awesome. Very cool. You're welcome, Dota. Yeah, I'd say give a shot to XSI. It's definitely worth learning. Let's turn all these guys the right way. And make sure that we don't show our seam, which is underneath somewhere, hiding. Waiting. Oh, that might have been too much. There we go. Whoops. Making great progress today, guys. I think we'll be able to submit this item the next couple of days. I just need to make the textures and the masks for the weapons, and then the beauty render for the whole set. And we'll feature it on LiveWorkshop.com as a 3D viewport, so you guys can see it all in 3D with the materials and everything. New feature added to the website recently, so make sure to check that out, guys. So yeah, I've been talking with Twitch about partnership, and they're gonna set up a date where I'll be on the front page for an hour guaranteed. And during that hour, you know, it'll be like the first, you know, like the real push to get people added to or following, the, you know, this Twitch channel. So once we do that and we start getting, you know, really high numbers, then, you know, they can grant me the partnership, and we can have all those options for you guys with slower frame rates or smaller definition for the broadcast. Well, sorry about that. I wish I could have more options for you guys, but I don't have control over that right now. Now, if you are having trouble with the broadcast, you can always watch it on YouTube. This whole broadcast will be transferred over to YouTube probably tomorrow, and you can watch the entire replay of this broadcast. If there's something you missed, or if you start working on your model later on, you know, you can always reference the video on the YouTube channel. You can find the link to that at LiveWorkshop.com. Yeah, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, guys. And follow us on here as well, of course. And if you're really hardcore, you can go to our Facebook page and follow us there as well. I usually post onto the Facebook page when a new tutorial goes up or when the new broadcast is up, so you can get notified. So that's a good reason why to follow the Facebook page as well. It's all useful stuff. Yeah, I think they're pretty steady on that 400 number. Unless you have a schedule set and you get pretty high numbers, then I'm not sure. Not sure how literal that number is. I guess it's more important to have a schedule and, you know, get those users coming back, which is something I need to do once I get the website, you know, in a more solid state. I can actually have a schedule when I broadcast. So it's easier for users to catch the show. In your same bad channel. Right. So check this out, we're gonna get tricky here and turn it the other way so that they kind of like self-shadow each other. Yeah, we're cheating. Love it. Well, tough selecting some of these. We're getting that highlight where we want it. Definitely looking way better. See that shit? It almost looks like it's a, you know, unique piece with its own shadows. Pretty cool. Oh, way dark. Put back a little bit. What a bunch of cheaters we are. My goodness. This is Softimage. It's on the FAQ down below. contrast this darkness a bit more. Our trusty levels, Control L for that in Photoshop. Brighten, darken, brighten, darken. Some red, or maybe some blue. The shadow. I always like to put color into the shadow, it's way more realistic. You know, you get some fake bounce lighting, which is what light actually does. Light bounces around, and there's no such thing as black. So a little bit of color in there is always great. Look at that. And let's make a backup of this in case Photoshop crashes while saving, and then you get your file corrupted. So this is what I always do. I make at least 2 files of one file that I'm working on. You don't want to lose all your layers and start from scratch. It's the worst thing ever. It's happened before. This is an intestine rope for the hook, yes, and it's also wrapped around him. And it will be over here as well, attached to the hook. So I think these brights are still getting a little too in your face. A bit. Here, so we're getting because of all the detail we put into the Zbrush mesh, we're getting a lot of these like dark, you know, little smudges going across, which I'm not crazy about. Oh, actually, here's something we can do. Let's duplicate that and keep the underneath layer as a backup, and we're gonna smudge some of these lines. This will help us make it seem like it's more full instead of so wrinkly. And then we can pick little highlights after that, but let's do the bulk work first. Make it look more bulbous. Some volume. Definitely looking a bit more fleshy. Try that. Yeah. Imagine with a specular mask running across the normal maps. Worked pretty good. The dark's still a bit too dark. Oh, you gave the darks a bit of a blue. That measures up. His looks so gross. Dota, the size of my Intuos is 11 by something. It's the Intuos 4. And it's the middle size one, not the super huge one. Actually, do they even make the huge ones anymore? I don't even know. How long have I been modeling for? And any helpful hints for someone that is keen to get better at it? I started back when Half-Life 1 came out. I started modding back then, and I made a mod for Half-Life, and I started, you know, modding, making models of, you know, the character models and skins, and then made my own mod, and then yeah, went from there. So I've been at it about 14 years, give or take. Yeah, so it's been a long time. I mean, after that mod, I got a contract work, and then an in-house studio gig. So yeah, 14 years from when that happened. Some hints to get better. I find a lot of artists tend to get intimidated, you know, by a lot of forums. Like CG Talk is one of the forums that I always visited, and you know, it was intimidating at first because there's so much talent in that website. There's so many good artists. But what you need to learn to do is to get inspired instead of getting intimidated. The second you become inspired by that stuff and start copying those guys, start copying their process, start doing what they're doing, do exactly what they do. Once you have that knowledge, you can actually then just infuse, you know, your own style into it. But if you learn the process, you can learn, you know, how the pros get their look across for the final images and final models and sculpts. So having that knowledge is really, really important. So don't be afraid to look at a piece and try and replicate it. You know, learn the process. And the more you do that process and the more you practice, you know, the better you're gonna get. And then you start, you know, adding your own flavor, and you start getting, you know, your own voice and your own style. So I'd say, you know, look at a lot of the forums, look at a lot of the pros. Try and do what they're doing. If you fail miserably, just try again. You know, it's all, I mean, it's all practice. You know, like, people will tell you that, oh, you know, that guy was born with that talent, and it's bullshit. You know, like, a lot of us worked really hard for many years to get to the place where we're at. So yeah, I mean, practice, man. You gotta, you know, sometimes don't go out. You know, don't go out with your friends. I mean, there's tons of times that I didn't go out with my college friends, and I was at the studio, you know, getting better at the craft. Sacrifices. So I hope that helps you. If you have any other questions, I'd gladly answer them. Hi, Marvel Pug. Thanks so much. Glad you like it. And what I'm thinking is, we have a huge tube right now that is really thick all the way across. I think maybe we can start with a really thick one that then really thins out to the end of the tip, you know, the hook, since it is quite, you know, I made it thinner up here on purpose. Maybe we should make this guy a little bit thinner. so that you get that, you know, that change in thickness and length. And at the same time, you can, you know, it'll help that you can see that it's a separate intestine cord. I think it can only help us. Try it out. Not sure how I didn't see this earlier. Should have got it. Oh yeah. Feels way more organic, having that difference. Yeah, I'm really liking it. Oh yeah, look at that. Almost looks circle-like, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, change to XSI by all means. I would learn both Maya and XSI because it'll help you in the long run if you actually want to make a career out of it. You know, and you know, your whole studio is working in one program. You're better off, you know, knowing more than one program, obviously. So yeah, I'd say learn them both. Don't drop either one of them. It can only help you. Actually, human intestines are really freaking long. Somebody can Google that, you know, if they want, and give the rest of the room some concrete numbers. But yeah, they're super long. "30 feet. Whew. Thank you for looking that up. Emma Cutie, or am I saying your name right? Alright, I think I'm gonna hide these guys. Our HP layer. A little full. There we go. Oh yeah. It's gonna look tight when we're done, guys. Once we get in game, it's gonna look tight. Shima. Alright. Alright, let's make this guy thinner too. I think we're getting a better look out of having the difference. I like how it gets bigger at the bottom, so it gives it more weight. Tricks the eye. That look good thicker. This is being pushed by the shoulder. Yeah, see that? It gives it more volume right there. Very cool. manually fix some of these circumference edge loops. Our stuff bit render from game view, the most important view right here. As long as this part looks pretty dope, we are good. Make that squeeze a little bit in there so we see that it's actually, you know, falling out of his stomach. We'll squeeze it a little bit in there, more than we should, technically speaking. Yeah, we're getting pretty good shape. Hi, London. How you doing? See ya. Yes, these are valves that he's using as a rope to throw this fancy hook with like a sharp blade on the inside and kind of like a hay hook that he customized. He's gonna be throwing intestines. I think we're getting too maroon here. I think I have to bring back a red a little bit. That shadow kind of hurt us on the texture. Red. Try that. Might be a bit too bright. Too bad. A bit brighter, I want to say. Ah, we want. So hard to tell the little changes. Highlights are still strong. Try that. I haven't tried Dedo. Somebody's asking in the forums, or in the forums. Oh, actually, we do have forums on the website, so check those out and sign up, guys. I just got them up last week at LiveWorkshop.com. But I haven't. There's this app called Dedo that auto creates the edge work and material work for you. But I think there's a bit of a learning curve to that program. You definitely have to learn, you know, where you want those edges to go, and you have to specify some of them. So it's a little bit of work to get it going, but once you do, you can throw some really quick materials that it auto creates for you. You know, like it can weather metal on the edges, only on the edges for you. You know, it can create wood, you know, rust across maybe just the top of surfaces instead of the bottom. It can do a lot of those things, which is really neat. But I haven't had the time to check it out and learn it. It's on my to-do list, which is quite large at the moment. I'm really liking this thinness going across some sections. It's getting really uniform before. And yes, I'm really detail oriented, so I have to get these loops perfect. So I'll always revisit them quite a bit. Get them exactly how I want them. We can even overlap these guys a bit more so we can see that underneath intestine, you know, since we're spinning those polys, you know, might as well use them. No sense in wasting those polys. Part of our poly count is 400 for this back part of Pudge. Arm's getting in the way. Let's hide it. Hey, the Vol, man. How are you doing? Welcome to the channel, dude. We're making some intestines. They're coming out pretty good, I think. I'm pretty happy with them so far. And once we finish the texture, they're just gonna look that much better with, you know, painted highlights and all that stuff. But yeah, they're coming across really well, man. We got really close to that look that, you know, Valve had on their intestines. So see, they have like this really, like the very tip of that volume is where they put the highlights. So that's, we just have to run that line across ours and we'll be set. Oh yeah, hey Deval. And we also UV mapped the hook and added the intestine rope to it. Nice, clean UVs. Oh, here, I'll show you guys the other head that I did for Pudge. Got his mouth open with fat ass tongue and all these blood and guts falling out. The Valve's asking if I sculpted the base cylinder first. So what I did to create these intestines is I made a cylinder. I'll show you how. Whoops. I made a 5-side, oh actually there's I think 215 length. Or maybe 500. Actually I think it was 2000. Yeah, there we go. I made that and I gave it, I think, 24 cuts. And then we made it, here. So that's how I started intestines. I made a huge cylinder that length. And then, I'll move this out of the way for you guys. I made this curve with the CV points that I can just move around. You see that? And then I deformed the cylinder. I used the deform tool over here, and I deformed by the curve so that this cylinder will follow the curve across. And what's great in XSI is that after you apply that deformation and you have this on top, you can grab your curve and move it around and the cylinder will follow it, which is just awesome for, you know, edits until you freeze it, which this one's already frozen, so I can show you guys that. But yeah, that's the start of intestines if you want to wrap something around with rope or guts or chains or anything. It's a really good way to do it. Am I Swedish? No, I'm not Swedish. I was born and raised in Mexico, and then I lived in Canada for 15 years. So I have dual citizenship and dual accents, I guess. think I want to pull these guys down a little bit more to give it more weight. It also gives us some darkness from the underneath model there, so it add depth by for free, since the dark's already there. So we're actually reusing the shadows that are already in the model for our benefit. Cheaters. Alright. Pretty alright. What's happening here? Something looks a little bit odd. Yeah, I'll turn this guy a little bit. Bit more. We're gonna cheat again. Get over. Teaching you guys how to cheat. Bunch of cheaters. All you. Good. It's a good cheat though. Hey, Cheated Dota, thanks so much. Appreciate that you would put this up. You go to the website at LiveWorkshop.com, you can follow the links to the workshop Steam page for the submitted files so far, and you can put those up. Always appreciated. We're getting pretty good shape out of these intestines, guys. Now what I plan to do, this Pudge model has bones running down this little skirt. Well, I guess this is his chef overalls or whatever. So he's got 3 lines of bones running down here. I'm going to attach these intestines, at least this line here that I'm selecting. Maybe a little bit of this too. Actually no, just this one. To one of the bones down here. And then to another bone, I'm going to attach this guy. So then when he walks around, they move around just like this piece of cloth does in the game engine. So they'll be hopping around in front of them. That'll be really neat. Give them some secondary motion. Hello, Voice of Justice. Welcome back, man. I do remember you. How would the blood from the mouth work? Actually, I rigged that to some of the bones down here so that they move around a little bit, but they can't move too much. And I rigged it in a way that when he talks, you know, this bottom part of the mouth moves a little bit. So, I mean, it's not perfect, you know, like the regular mouth, because I can't modify this mouth. So, I modeled on top of it, and it does move when he talks, but not as much. But it's still, you know, it's as a custom mouth, I think it does its job really well. Jack BP, yes, the forums take a little bit too long to load right now. I am in the process of starting to move the website to much faster servers, so I apologize for that. I will try and get the site onto the new servers, and hopefully the forums will be fast on those servers. As well as this. Oh, the site's pretty fast, but yeah, the forums are quite slow. Or slower than I'd like them to be, at least. They're not terribly slow. Yeah, it'd be nice to have the blood pouring down, but I don't have access to that stuff, so that's something Valve would have to add. You know, a little sprite there that just drips blood from his mouth continuously. That'd be really cool, actually. Good point, black, 9 white. Oh, actually, that was Cheetita Dota. My mistake. Alright, where were we? Hi, Angry Birds. I paint some highlights. How this goes. A little bit of highlights. Let's see how they turn out. I'm not sure where I was painting. I think I was doing the top bit of them. A little bit there. I need a bit of orange still into the texture. A little bit of orange. Means a little bit of yellow. More than that. There we go. Look at those hues. Really freaking close. I think we can skip some of these highlights instead of having them be uniformly across. It looks less like a pipe. Make it get a little bit here. A little bit like that. Some breathing room. Oh, you guys want to see the mask? Actually, I can show you the marketing piece for the mask. There she is. Thanks, MacBot. I hope you do. You should buy 3 of them. Buy 3 of these sets. Thanks, Pony. I had it running in the game as a test already. It's looking pretty good. It looks really good against the blue bloodstained bridges. If you have that item, they look really good together. Oops. Actually, I can show you guys right here. Minus these. It looks tight. Yes, buy 3. Angle's looking pretty good. Let's push it a bit more. I like this little push that the shoulder is given. Yeah. I think we need to bring this guy up a little bit. Getting too close to the bottom tentacle, or tentacle, well, they look tentacles, I guess. Intestine. Let's see if we touch it right next to the dark bit there. It gives us that white space underneath it. Looks pretty good, I think. Maybe even rotate it down a little bit so we can see the end of that piece. Oops. Better. Gives him some depth, you know, at the same time. Black thing above his head. We talk about this thing over here. This little thing over here. So a few streams ago, somebody we were just joking about, you know, the hair that he had. So we decided to just like, in I think 3 minutes, we just threw this really quick, like rocker hair on him, you know, like totally covered up, which I thought looked hilarious. So I don't know, maybe I'll make it into a, you know, its own item and release it as a single item because it just looks fucking hilarious. I mean, you can imagine it with like alpha textures, you know, nicely cut up and all that. But I think it's pretty funny. So that's what that is. Alright, where were we? I don't know, man. I think the intestines are pretty good. I'd say they're almost finished. You know, we have that shadowing going across them, even though they're mirrored across, but the shadow's on the bottom across the entire piece. Really, really cool. We have the thinner intestine, and we have the thicker areas of intestines. Maybe we can play with that a bit more. We can make these guys a little thicker. So this is the part that's stretching because the bottom part's heavier, obviously. We can make these guys thinner and make it appear like as if they're stretching. Just like an elastic does, you know, it becomes thinner the more you stretch it because that volume is being pulled apart. And the heavy stuff that is not stretching, which is thicker at the bottom. So let's try and put that across the rest of these guys. So we get that sense of weight. See that? The bottom now feels way heavier, doesn't it? Just by changing the width or the thickness of these guys here. We can exaggerate a little bit because the game view is, again, as a top view. So, you know, the changes we're making get minimized because of perspective. So the more we push these into a more exaggerated state, then we'll actually notice, you know, that thinness. See? Now we're starting to see it a little bit. Very nice. How will he digest food if they snap off? I think he can survive for a few years on all that fat he's got in there. I think he'll be okay, man. You think this part's thin? Actually, I think it needs to be thinner up here. You know, it creates that stretching that we were talking about. Reads way better than a cylindrical shape. This is what we had before. The super thick one. and it's all fat. It feels like a hose, you know, like something not organic. Because it doesn't stretch, it doesn't go thinner. There's no weight. But new one. New one's looking really good. Very organic. Even thicker over here. You know, give it some contrast to the thin one. You know, so you can really see it from up here. Feels like that's, you know, that's another loop going through there. Very nice. Very nice. Dota is asking if I have to create a stretch version for when the hook is thrown out. Unfortunately, I don't have access to that piece that goes right here, and then the piece that gets stretched out when the hook it's thrown out. Valve will have to create, you know, that piece for the set if they accept it into the store. So if they do, I can talk to them and I can make it for them if they want. So yeah, I'll make sure to talk to them about it. Because yeah, it's definitely, I mean, that's gonna be like the key for it, right? Like you have to see that the intestine fly out and you know, be attached to the hook as it's being thrown out. It's gonna be really neat. I'd buy this set. Of course, I'm beyond biased, but hey, come on, man, it's pretty unique, right? I think it goes really well with Pudge. And this hook's gonna have like this sharp blade on the front, so there's something unique on the hook too. And then of course the machete with this bands, which will be bloodied and, you know, rusty, so I have to texture this guy. Do that tomorrow though. Let's worry about this guy. I think we have to bake this guy still, so let's start doing that. Chainsaw hook. I thought about a chainsaw, but I don't think it'd fit in the lore. I think they'd be against it for sure. I think they just reserve that for like the dwarves, you know, that have, I guess, the most advanced technology, machine-wise, steampunk-wise. So yeah, I think it'd be kind of tough to pull that off with Pudge. So I don't think I want to try. You know, put so much effort into something that will most likely not get into the game. You could have eaten a dwarf with the chainsaw. Maybe we can have the dwarf's like arm and his head kind of like poking out of his guts. Help me! Alright, I think we already exported this, so we just need to bake it now. Yeah, he's more of a redneck hillbilly, you know. His overalls and farm equipment, which is why I chose this hay hook. Customized with the blade, of course, on the front. And a machete, you know, more farm stuff. Fits well with Pudge. Bem Sorlot's asking if I mesh smooth my models to, you know, to get it all smooth or make them or subdivide them. Well, I do that for the mid poly version that I bring into Zbrush to make the really high detailed stuff in Zbrush, and then bake all that detail down to the low poly stuff. Dota sets poly limits per section, you know, so like the head or the hair that you replace on Pudge. I replaced it with a mask, and the poly count limit is 300 for the in-game version and 500 for the avatar version, if you wish. You don't have to do the higher poly one, but if you know, if it's something around the head that is going to be visible, you know, like this on the avatar at the bottom of the screen during the game, then you probably should use that those extra polys to, you know, round out some areas as much as you can at least. And then, you know, for things that are like on the arms and stuff like that that you don't see in the avatar section, then I would suggest not doing that high poly option. You know, if it's the shoulder, then yes. If it's farther down the hand, I'd say no. So just keep to the 400. In this case, Pudge has 400 for this arm, which is the whole thing's customizable. And then the other arm is just the bracer, which is 150. Whoa, that's really low. But yeah, there's 150 right there. You can see my triangle count is 150 dead on. So you have to keep the poly count limit in mind, you know, and make it look as best as you can. My graphics card? Yeah, I have a really good graphic. I have what do I have? GTI. I don't even remember what I have. It's fairly good, and I just recently got 32 gigs of RAM running on my computer, so I'm able to run, you know, the stream, you know, the recording of the stream, XSI, Photoshop, Zbrush. My folders. iTunes. I have all those programs running at the same time, so yeah. It's great because, I mean, it's important for the stream, right? Alright. Oh, and xNormal, of course, I have this running still. Let's pick out that hook. Okay. High resolution. This time hook's already there. Cool. Actually, I already brought all my stuff over, so we just need to set up xNormal to start baking this hook right here. And I'm just gonna bake the ambient occlusion for this part, because we're gonna reuse the normal maps from the intestines we already did in high poly and Zbrush and paste them over here. Give ourselves some time. Helmet of cheese. Yes, I will be putting blood on the machete bandages and on the blade. I haven't textured the blade at all, so that's just totally placeholder for now. It's definitely not textured, so don't think that that's even close to being finished. Yeah, this needs like all the texture work pretty much. This is just, I think, the ambient occlusion mask and 2 colors like slapped on there. But yeah, that's totally placeholder. Don't think that's. Alright, let's see here. You want to bake the low poly hook. And we're going to do the normal map, so we don't need the mirrored part for the ambient occlusion to create those shadows for us. Okay, so we're going to tell it to the normal map. And we're going to call this intestines, normals. Normals, that doesn't make any sense. Intestines, intestine, hook, normals. Save. Double check that we have the correct low poly model. Intestine hook LP and intestine hook HP. Hey, where did our intestines go? Did we delete those by mistake? I guess we don't need them, but intestine hook. Okay. Worth it. Intestine hook, no. Fake. That is not correct. Investigate. I'm not quite sure why that came out like. Definitely not correct. I check that there's no overlapping faces anywhere in the mesh. Happens just as you're working on models sometimes, you know. It looks clean. Re-export it. That normal map is not correct. Okay. And where's our hat poly? There it is. Let's duplicate that and bring it across. Reset. Might have exported with... No, I exported the right way. Try it again. Sanity, Estine, hook, HP. Let's replace it. Okay. Try this again. Keep the high poly back in, low poly. Delete all this. Bring the low poly back in. I have one. Yeah, other correct settings. Really curious. Try something crazy. Yeah, this is definitely one weird looking normal map. And I'm not sure what's happening. Curious. Check our normals. Oh, our normals seem correct. Yeah, here it is. Very strange, I don't think I've seen this before. Very weird. Try freezing it one more time and freezing the transforms, but I don't. That should not make a difference at all. Very weird, guys. It's alright though, we'll fix it. Or start xNormal as well, just in case. Well, in Zbrush you'd have to use the same mesh with a lower sub-D level to bake the normal map for it. These are two separate meshes. Okay. Range good. Huh. That was really weird. This looks correct. Really strange. I think xNormal just freaked the hell out, I guess, after having so many files added and whatnot. Oh, there it is. It's fixed. No need to freak out. There's always a solution. Alright. Let's do our intestine. Actually, what are we doing? The AO mask. Let's do the AO first. For that, we need to bring in the low poly mirror and the chord as high poly acids, so that they get, so that xNormal thinks that, you know, there's something there to create the AO onto the hook. And then we're also gonna add the chord as a low poly into the low poly. But we're just gonna do the hook first. So we'll have the hook on and all three of these. Actually, we don't need the mirror, because the mirror is already in the intestine hook. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Ambient occlusion. Settings. Hey yo. Generate map. Nice. Pretty good. Thank you, it's Mitz. Thanks for dropping by. Animal Mother is saying that you used to have a fix for Maya where the mesh got corrupted. All you had to do is create a cube, combine it with a mesh, and then delete or detach, as Maya calls it, that new cube, and then your mesh would work again. Yeah, xNormal is really good for baking. XSI is really good for baking too. It just takes longer to set up each bake, so that's why I like using xNormal, especially for, you know, Dota characters where, you know, the detail doesn't have to be as fine, you know, as like super detailed games, you know, that I've worked on for forever. So it's nice that, you know, this will work with xNormal fairly quickly, and then you can just, you know, texture in your fine details that are important for the game view. Okay, let's make the AO mask now for the board. So we're gonna bake both of these things, yep, into just the cord. And we're gonna call it Intestine Hook Board AO. And I think that should be okay. Good. We'll just brush that, you know, those harsh lines out so that it's a bit smoother, but this is fine. We can clean this up fairly easy. Cool. Done with xNormal. Get out of here, you bug yap. Alright, where were we? Pudge. Render pictures. Sanity intestines. They should not be in here. They should have their new folder, actually. New folder. Insanity. Let's spell. What are we calling this? What should we call that hook, guys? Help me brainstorm a name for them. For this thing. Oops, this thing. Insanity. Insanity. Sapphire, I don't have a set schedule yet, but it's something I'm definitely interested in doing, setting up a schedule so that people and students and gamers and anyone can join in, you know, at that time, and it'd be easier for them to catch the show. So I don't have one yet, unfortunately, because I'm working, like, most of my time goes into building the website, the LiveWorkshop.com website, that hosts, you know, all these broadcasts, and it's gonna host tutorials, free tutorials, premium tutorials, and it's also gonna have featured items that I'll have up on the site from myself and from different authors. You know, if they're good enough, I'll host them on there and you're able to see them in 3D. That's one new thing that the website has now. It's got a 3D viewport. So if you go there right now, you can check out Pudge and the bloodstained bridges in the front page in full 3D. It's really, really neat. So check that out. So yeah, I mean, keep checking on the site, you know, follow this channel, follow the YouTube channel, and yeah, keep tuned to when I start setting up, you know, the actual schedule for the streams. I know it's important. Gut hook. Oh, look at it. Both of you guys had the same idea at the same time. Insanity gut hook. Got a good ring to it. Eviscator. Yes, I've made Pudge items. I made the bloodstained bridges that are in the game right now, and I made the scarecrow set, which has not gone into the game yet. And I'm making this insanity set, which has 6 items. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Yeah, 6 items. And I'm working on a PL set after this guy, and then I also have a Skeleton King set that I started. So I'll jump on those soon after. Website allowing, of course. Gut wrencher. What about Insanity Hay Hook? It kind of like pulls the hook, you know, to its own unique type of hook from all the other hooks that are out there. Insanity Hay Hook. Ooh, what about Insanity Haymaker, but spelled like, you know, hay? Awesome, Jack VP. I'm glad you like the bloodstained britches. I think they look really good on Pudge. I definitely prefer him with those pants on than with nothing on. He really stands out. They contrast his skin really well. So I'm thinking Insanity, what did I say? Haymaker? Hay Hook? Hay Hook sounds a bit weird. Yeah, it does kinda. Haymaker? Haymaker a little weird? Haymaker's kinda weird. Haymaker? Like Haymaker's like a finishing punch in in boxing, right? Am I thinking of that right? Is that, am I wrong? Haymaker better than Hayhook. Well, I guess I should put it that. Oh, there's, you can't put dashes and shit. I know, right? I mean, it's gonna be part of a set, so I'm not crazy worried about the name. So I think Haymaker is a pretty funny little pun, you know, at a finishing kind of move, and it has the name Hay in there because it's a hay hook. Let's go with Haymaker. I can do that. Yeah, look at this normal map, guys. What the hell was xNormal doing? I've never seen that before. What the fuck? Yeah, I think Haymaker is a clever pun. We'll go with Haymaker, guys. Alright, let's close that crap. Okay. Our ambient occlusion. I'm gonna paste into this guy. Okay. Selection miss. And this by 3. Oh crap. Oh crap. I think it's getting late. I'm misclicking quite a bit. There we go. Got it. Our occlusion be set up. That's our intestines. This was a broken normal map that we already did. We bring in our normal maps. Paste. And our normal maps for the intestines we haven't done because we're gonna copy them from the normal maps over here. Guys, or this guys. This guys. Yep. In here. So we'll do that after. Finish baking this. And we're calling this the Insanity Haymaker. Nice. Nice. But right now, you guys can't see it. I'm making my layers that I mentioned earlier. My normal layer, my AO layer, and my color layer. Okay. Now, bring in the textures that we started for that machete, so we can just grab some the same gray, you know, for the metal and all that fun stuff. Ah, Insanity Blade. Here we go. Ah, which one was it? We're gonna grab our metal. There's two. These two right there. Hey, what the hell? Apply the color. And let's grab our handle color. Let's just bring that layer over. And up here. Paste. Cool. And just name my layers. They're nice and neat. We have this guy over here. Whoops. Guys. And we're saving tons of work by not having to redo this stuff. Okay, naming a different layer. There we go. Move it into place. Oh, Looks about right. Just to test. The one thing I haven't done the stamping of the UVs so I can see them clearly on my texture map. I'll show you guys how to do that. Oh, did I misspell that? Oh, I totally did. Sanity Haymaker. Alright. Thanks for that, good catch. Delete. Fixed. Okay, what we're doing? Alright. So we're gonna grab these guys and we're gonna combine them. Actually, let's make a duplicate just so we know that, you know, that's safe somewhere. Merge these guys, merge. And weld those vertices. And we're gonna make our new material. Do. And name it correctly. Pudge Insanity Haymaker. Okay, and now we're gonna bring in our Haymaker PSD and attach that to our material. Bam! A little bit of fixing still on the map, but there's our UVs. And part of the intestine. We'll have to push that across. Hey Jammy Break. Thanks man. Glad you like the mask. And even more glad to hear that you'd buy it. Alright guys, I'll be right back in 2 minutes. Don't go away. Alright guys, I'm back. Okay, where were we? Setting up the texture for the hay hook. Right. continue that. Oh wait, that's not what we're doing. We're gonna bake out the wireframe, so that way you can follow our texturing correctly. Okay. Whoops. I think I got my black texture over here. Where is it? There we go. Cool. So we're gonna export this, which is called Stamp UV Mesh in Softimage. And we want it to be TGA for the hell of it. And save it under rendered pictures. And under Insanity Maker. And we'll just call that wires. Okay. Open that up over here. This. Twice as big. Scale that down, copy it, and paste it at the very top of our layer marks. And we're gonna put a screen modifier on that layer, so we can see through it. And then we're gonna bring down the opacity in it just so we can see the wireframe slightly, so we know where to cut as we're making our color texture. This is still way too large. Intestines, we can make them small. Right. Okay. We'll just do one. Bring our wireframe and we can see, you know, where our other pieces are, so we can just erase this placeholder. Blood. And actually, you can just duplicate the color underneath, just so we get the color at least. Grab our handle. And we'll save the PSD just so we can see the colors correctly onto our mesh. And there they are. The color on the AA hook. All the metal's metal, the wood is wood. Cool. And a very slight AO running across the mesh. Stronger. We can also clean up our AO, which I'm using as a multiplier layer at about 49% opacity on top of the flat colors that I put down. Now we can just go in here and start cleaning up some of these harsh edges all over. Quick blur usually does the trick. Or start anyways. You can always check the model once we are done and then do adjustments as we see fit. But for example over here, we know this is going to be broken. Well, let's push these guys across. Just brush out those errors. And our buggy friend xNormal created for us. We just brush those away like this. Make them nice and soft, because these are supposed to be self-casting shadows. Oh yeah, sorry guys, I think I showed the layers a little bit earlier tonight. Oh, I need a drink. Throat is dry. That's better. So I'll show you guys my dual screen. My setup. So here are my layers in Photoshop, and I've set up my color group, my ambient occlusion group, and my normal map group. And there I have my normal map. Oh, let me see my effort, guys. I have my ambient occlusion, and I have my color texture, and then I have that ambient occlusion at 49% opacity and a multiply layer, which is creating that base work for our diffuse map. And then I give it a little bit of blue to the darks of that ambient occlusion, so our shadows have a bit of color, which is great. It's more realistic. Yeah, and then I have, I guess my wires are up here, my wireframe for the mesh. So when we start doing, you know, fine detail like scratches on the metal or whatnot, you know, you can see exactly where that edge is, and then you start painting over it. So that's how my Photoshop is set up. Then I have my swatches over here, or my color picker, and my history in this long list, just in case I need to go back somewhere. That's how I have my Photoshop set up. Pretty straightforward. And if I need to, I can just minimize, you know, all the menus around and just use my shortcut keys. But I keep all that stuff on so you guys can see what I'm clicking on in case somebody's trying to learn and, you know, they want to replicate, you know, a technique. They know exactly what I'm doing. So let me return us to the main screen. Go. And bring the chat back up so I can see. You're welcome. Okay, where were we? Oh, we're cleaning up the AO. Get back to that. Push this little corners out. Oh, this is getting the corner of it. I think there's like a rope or something running right across one of these edges. So that's what this is. So we'll just smooth that out a little bit because it's a little too harsh. Okay. These are the, what is this? These are the intestines, and this harsh line is just the very low poly. So we really want to smooth this guy out. Just like that. There we go. For that, with our smudge tool. A little bit of practice to get it, you know, straight on the first shot and keep the shape and get the motion blur almost, you know, that I'm creating here, but get the hang of it fairly quick. A few times. You know, jiggle your brush around and push it across. Nice, smooth gradient towards the end. There you go. A bit smoother there. Okay. Some of these straight lines a little bit. Now let's soften out the other guys. This over here is still the other half of the intestines. Remember, we broke them up so that we can get the resolution way higher than if we fit them all as one piece. So the downside to that is that we'll have to, you know, fight with this seam so that you don't see it inside the game across the texture. But getting higher resolution is definitely way more important than working extra to get a seam. To hide a seam, I should say. Okay. Intestine looks fairly clean. We can actually use the blur tool and push it across these guys. Then we back to the smudge tool and push it across those errors. They're clearly errors. So now this is the blade, which doesn't have too much AO because there's nothing really around it. Except the rope. This is the rope, or the intestine, sorry, that are going around it. So this guys we want to keep. Even push him out a little bit more, because see our wireframe right here? The bake wasn't perfect, so it pushed some of the white into it. And then once this gets compressed into Dota 2, it's gonna get pushed even farther because of the compression that the engine creates. So you want to get rid of anything bright, you know, along the edge, if there's supposed to be darkness right on it. I just like to blur this dark edges a little bit more farther away. They're clearly intercepting with something. I think this guy's going to the wood piece. But you want it to be a gradient, you don't want it to be a flat line, you know? It'll look better this way. Soften this out a little bit. Oopsie doodle. A little softer shadows. Since this is probably the intestine running close to the root. Pretty sure it is. So let's unhide this and save. Get out of expert mode. And check out our Softimage. So if we look at our AO, see, nice and soft in there. So once we start texturing, we can make this a little harsher. But yeah, see, there's our AO right there being hidden and getting hit, creating those shadows around the intestine. Some self-shadowing there, self-shadowing there, another there. Looks good. Oh, these guys are a little dark. I'm pretty sure it's this. I'm gonna erase away from it. And I bet you that fixed it. Oh crap, we forgot the other side. And then we need to erase a little bit on the top as well. Which I'm gonna guess it. Go. Now this wood piece I think needs something. I think it needs like a little bolt or a little button of some sort. Question from xCoragonex or something similar to that. How long does it take me to finish a specific item? Huh. I don't know. I haven't like done one, you know, sitting down the entire time. I haven't really worked that long on this set, to be honest. Like we've done the UVs, the bakes for both of these items right here. In however long I've been broadcasting today, which has been what, maybe, I think I started at 10 at night, 10:30 maybe? No, I think it was maybe 11, 10:30 11. So what is that? 5 hours? So 5 hours to bake, texture, and make the high poly versions, you know, for Zbrush for both these models. So yeah, so that's, okay, let's say a day, you know, if I say I'd finish these textures, because that's probably how long it'll take me to finish those. Yeah, I mean, if you're really fast and you know what you're doing and you're sitting down, you know, I mean, talking in the chat and answering questions does slow me down a bit, but I think it's totally worth it because you guys get to learn the process, you know, whether you're a gamer and you're just interested or you're a student and you actually want to do this for a profession. So, I mean, talking on here does slow me down quite a bit, but I'd say you can probably do an item in a day if you're really good and you've been in the industry for a while. I'd say 2 days if you want to, you know, do the marketing assets and, you know, all those, you know, finish the masks really nice and test it a few times and rig it. The rigging will probably take a bit longer depending if it's something really complex. You know, like if you want to rig this hook, you attach it to one bone and it's like 2 seconds. It's super fast. But if you want to rig, say, hay, all these little hay pieces onto the skeleton, into different bones, and make sure that they move across with the right arm at the right time, you know, so they don't float and all those things, then that's gonna take you, you know, quite a bit longer. It took me quite a bit to do all this straw there for the scarecrow version, our set that I created. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely